All right, welcome back to the Prospecting Show. Today is September 9th. We've been a little light on the show recently. We hit 150 episodes about 2 weeks ago. Today we have Mitch Conquer from a bunch of different brands. We're going to talk about Hyper Target today, but we got the Conquered brand, we got Hyper Target, we got a bunch of different things that he's doing. And unfortunately, he hails from the land of socialism up north. So today we're going to talk a little capitalism, socialism. No, I'm just kidding. We'll be good. We're going to talk about business today and what Mitch and his team does as he drinks his Tim Hortons. Unfortunately, I haven't had any Tim Hortons in the last, 2 years since I haven't been home to Canada. But nonetheless, man, welcome to the Prospecting Show. How are you?
Appreciate it, man. Listen, I heard a little jealousy there in the voice when you said you haven't had Timmy's in 2 years. So no, when I fly down, I'll bring you some homemade Timmy's.
Yeah, exactly. That'll last for like a good 2 seconds, then we'll be ready to roll. So tell us about you, man. What's the story? Like you have these different brands, you got a bunch of partnerships, you got great people on your team, and you kind of built out like some new offers, right? You have the PR side, you got the real estate side, your family comes from real estate. You tell us a little bit more about you. What's the story?
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy where things land. I mean, I started doing real estate lead gen when I was like 14, 15 years old, thinking I knew everything about Facebook, right? And I mean, back then, because I'm so worldly now, so old, my hard age of 24. But but 10 years ago when I started doing this, my dad is a realtor, and I wanted to be a realtor so bad, but at 14, you can't even drive. So, you can't go in there. I'm in the office with him trying to do leads, and figured out Facebook a little bit, figured out to do some ads, run some Google ads, Facebook ads, keeping up with that kind of stuff. And, fast forward a few years, started my first agency, that flopped. Sort of my second agency, that flopped. The third one went well. Now, after that, getting a little bit older and learning things, over the last few months, we've actually, so we sold my last business, and fortunate enough now to partner with a gentleman now who's, a little bit, I'm going to call Chris more experienced. He's a little more worldly than I, and I'm sure he'd appreciate me saying that, but he's been doing this for a long time. Chris been 30 years in marketing. I come from a little bit of a different background, obviously, than Chris, and bringing some stuff to light is that my real estate background paired with my local marketing knowledge and kind of what we went into business, and now I decided to go from the lead gen space to kind of hone into my understanding, my background and my brand built off of real estate marketing, and kind of what I'm good at, what I think that, my clients are getting the best result from. And that's brand building, it's team building, brand building. Big part of what we do is press, PR, and we do real estate recruiting as well. So, telling a story is really difficult. And Connor, I know I've said you said this a million times, whether it's on your Facebook group or on your podcast. People don't have a business with a brand. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people, when they go and they start an agency or they're going to start a business, all of a sudden everyone should just buy their stuff because they're the greatest. That's not the case, right? And there's so much competition out there. So what we do is when you Google yourself, what comes up? If you're getting your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter, that's all that's coming up. The thing is that everybody else that is in your niche, right? It might be, and that's my Canadian coming out, niche, not niche. There's 50,000, 100,000 people you're competing with. What sets you aside? What makes you a little bit different, right? And for us, that really comes down to press. And that's what we thought was going to take us to the next level. I'm talking from personal experience. I was like 23 and I had we had like 30 clients at the time. We were doing all right. And, we're at like their 20, 30K mark monthly. And when we got my first feature in Forbes, it was reach out. I was sold that a million times. Everyone tries to sell Forbes and tries to sell all these publications, all these articles. And one time this guy came to me super genuine and said, "Hey man, I don't want you to pay for this. I want to give this to you because I think that, we can have a mutually beneficial relationship." A year and a half later, Johnny is my partner in our head of PR. And that's kind of how we roll now. So I'll get into that a little bit later, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of what we do. And then with my personal brand, we're fortunate enough to have some pretty high level clients. Jimmy Juliana, who a lot of people know from $1 Million Beach House on Netflix, is one of my good friends and now in a partner of mine, a longtime client. So we do a lot of stuff for the show and for Jimmy now on Discovery Plus. So you guys can go watch that in about 6 months time. But yeah, so I mean that's what we did. He wanted to start a publication, and as did I. And last name being Conquer. People that don't have this last name or that don't know me very well, they go, "Oh, that's wicked. Let's use that." And I was opposed to it for about 3 weeks until I kind of got overwhelmed with yes. So I just kind of went, you know what, we'll do it. So conquerlifestyle.com is a real estate and lifestyle publication that is used to. It's ranks well on Google, helps the brand, and you're in good company with a lot of high end celebrities.
Tell us a little bit about the pivot, right? So like you had these businesses, different agencies, you built them, what you sold one, maybe you exited the other ones, right? Like you tell us about why you did that. Like what was the pivot? Like what is kind of that North Star where you're trying to go?
Man, it's the same reason I text you 3 times a week. Say the same thing that I thought that I knew what I wanted. I thought that I knew what I wanted to do, and I'm always, growth is like the number one thing that I focus on. Personal growth, personal development, business growth, and for the longest time I had shiny object syndrome. Up until even recently, I'm sure I have had a lot of talks about this, but the pivot was really, when you're able to take a step back outside of your business and outside of who you are and your surroundings, and you have that realization when you can actually take a step back and look at who you're involved with and the people that you're involved with and your friends. What you love and what you think is best for you are not always the same thing. And at the end of the day, I had 3 or 4 different revelations in the span of 6 months that really was pushing me out of where I was at that time. And the pivot went from trying to compete in a world of lead gen where it was, everyone was leeching on at the lowest cost possible. I actually like what I do. In fact, I love what I do. And I think we're pretty good at what we do. We've proven that a lot, over and over again. In that lead gen space, it's such a low profit and, low reward for such a, high expectation. Now, not to say that it's not possible. It is. I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of friends collectively that do really, really well in lead gen. And that's kind of that's their bread and butter. It just wasn't what we were interested in. And that's kind of what my brand was built around back then, and my partners then, and that kind of stuff too. And, even now moving forward, making that transition, that pivot to where we're at now is that I love what I do. I wake up and I'm excited about what I do. And that, I think I lost that for a little bit, and, getting back into this and, our conversations over the last, few months, just that's what I want to do. Where I'm at now is where I want to be, and growing forward, this is what I want to do, not going forward, growing forward is what I'm doing. It's a little bit different than I was. So that was the pivot. That was a transition.
Yeah. And I think your point is valid, right? At the end of the day, you have to be doing the thing that you like to do. And it's easy to say, hey, I love what I do, right? You hear people all the time, I love what I do. It's not work if you love what you actually do. And it's like, yeah, it is still work, right? Like there's still effort that goes in. And to be honest, like it's the grit that really matters, right? It's like, hey, I wake up and I do stuff that I don't want to have to do, right? Like I do things every day that I don't necessarily want to have to do. Doesn't mean I don't like my job or what I have as a business, but there are things that you have to do in a business to be able to grow it. And most people don't understand that, right? They just say, okay, well, I'm going to be happy at 5K a month or 10K a month and just shut her down there. It's like, listen, why don't you want to do more, have more impact, bigger people, right? More bigger team, like whatever it is, grow, so you can get to that level. Most people just decay back into like, I'm okay. Right. And why do you think that is?
I think people get 2 things, either comfortable or lazy. And I think comfortability and being lazy, they go hand in hand a lot of the time. But another one, there might be 3, being scared. It's easy to be comfortable when you have, it's like working a part-time job. If you're okay with 3, 5K a month, that's great, right? 5, 10K, great. After profits, after whatever, you're making $2,000, $3,000 a month. You can go work, make Tim McDonald's. I became an entrepreneur to be able to become free, earn freedom, gain my freedom, have the ability to purchase and not look at the price tag, ability to go travel and take care of my family. And that's what I want to do. And I'm never pleased with the next dollar. It's got to be 10,000 more, 20,000 more, 100,000 more. And that's what pushes me every day is, okay, not how much I'm going to make, how many more people can I affect positively? How many people can I impact in a positive way? How many brands can I change? How many people can I get featured in Forbes? How many people can I tell their story? How many people can I use my platform for to help them build a platform or grow themselves? And that's why I chose PR. That PR is the reason why we are doing what we are doing, because I'm able to actually help people and give them a platform, tell their story, and really transition that. And that's what I love to do.
I think the one thing that is tough for people, right, is you brought up a good point, which is like, you're never going to have what you want. That's the crazy part, right? It's like, we could do the best job ever in business and we still are like, I want more. You know what I mean? I had this goal written down. I don't know, it was probably 2 years ago, right? It was a personal revenue goal, right? So when I say personal revenue, it's like basically income to myself personally before I pay taxes, right? And I wrote it down. I said, I'm going to hit this by 2025, August. So last month I hit it. right? And I was like, damn, like we got there, right? That was a few years early, right? To hit the goal. But the thing for me is like, I realized it's really not all it's made out to be, right? Like there's a certain point in time where you make enough money, you have enough customers, you've grown the business enough. It's going to go up and down, right? You're going to waver on it. But like profit first is the model, man. I'd rather have, less revenue, more profit, and be happy with what we're at. But one thing I can definitely tell you is if you're chasing a revenue goal, it's actually not that exciting when you hit it. It just isn't. Like you're like, oh, I want 50K a month. Okay. It's not that exciting. You want 100K a month. Okay. Not that exciting. 150. Okay. 200. Now it's just like a game, right? Like, it's just like, what can I hit going forward? And I think people are like, man, like your goals are 200, 300, $500,000 a month. It's like, yeah, that's the strategy is. We're not looking to make $3,000 a month. Like you said, we're looking to grow something so that we can leave something. It's more legacy focused, right? So for you, what do you think people should be focusing on, right? It can't always be money, but what should they be focusing on?
We are so conditioned to look at it at that with that light. And I'm glad you said that, because like literally our conditioning as human beings teaches us that, we need to be selfish. And at the end of the day, revenue that's the big number, because people are so focused on the facade. They're so focused on, man, I did $1 million last month. Yeah, do many people because I work in PR, man. Everything, it's all like there's a lot of vanity in this world, and all my real estate agent friends and colleagues that are going to watch this, it's the same thing, right? It's about vanity. And when I work with a lot of realtors and we do a lot of team building, oh man, I just hit $1 million in GCI, great, and you brought home $40,000. How is that? Why are you spending so much? Why are your expenses like this? So go back to your question. I mean, be focused on what you love to do, because I didn't really believe this until this year. When you are focused on what you love, when you're focused on what you want to do and how you want to make a difference and how you want to impact people, yourself, friends, etc., what it is, money will come. And I was told that for years. I literally was like, my first ever book that I read, I was told that for years. And when I read the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, for me, it's a good
book. That's a good book.
When I read it, I was like, man, Think and Grow Rich. I'm going to get rich. I promise you, when I read that book, I went into it thinking I'm going to get rich. When I finished the book, I came out of it knowing I am rich. I'm going to be rich. I have the ability to be rich. Not thinking I want to get rich. I am going to get rich. But being rich, that's the difference. Being rich, quote unquote rich, is not driving around in a Lamborghini. That's what you want, great. But you and I both know how many people are driving around in Lambos right now. They're brand new Aventador that they just lease for $3,000 a month, and they can't afford it because they're only making $4,000, right? Like that to me is not rich. That is building a facade. I'm again all about PR, all about press, all about branding. My brand is that I want to help people, and the reason why we do so much business and why we do what we do is because when people come to us, they know they're not buying a package. Yes, we have preset packages, but we actually build a custom set. Connor, you're in marketing. You're not going to get the real estate publications that we get for our realtors. Why? Because they mean nothing to your brand. People read them and mean anything. So you got to focus on what you want to do, and if you find what you love, and you find what you actually take pride and you care about, when you wake up in the morning and you make a big stretch and you yawn and you go, all right, let's get today. But if you I was a correctional officer for 3 years. I worked in a jail. Like that's what I did that. That when I woke up every day at like 5 a.m. to go to jail for 12 hours, that was the worst feeling I've ever had. I woke up and I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to go see a murderer today. Someone just was in for like the heaviest felony conviction that you could possibly think of, and I gotta go feed them lunch. Now I wake up going, wow, I'm going to take a realtor in Miami who is a beautiful place in the US right now, has a smaller real estate brand, and I'm going to help them take their brand to become the next $1 million listing agent in Miami. That's what I love to do. And that every agent that I work with, I feel is that way. It seems every marketing entrepreneur, right? Yourself included. Like my goal for people like marketing entrepreneurs is like, listen, there are 1 million of us. There are literally 3 million people that are trying to do marketing right now. What makes you different, right? Now you obviously have your unique selling proposition. Your USP is very unique. I use your services. I love your stuff, man. Like that's a big thing for me. And I get messages all the time. Well, what makes Connor different? What makes you different? Whatever. If you can't provide to them in one line what makes you different, you're not doing what you love. You have to be able to articulate what you love in the simplest, most short little answer, because that to them, it goes a long way. People lose sight of what you're doing in about 3 seconds. If you can't captivate them in that one little sentence, you've lost it. You have to love it.
Yeah. No, 100% that's true. And I think for you, because you guys have this real estate, focus, and you have the recruitment stuff, which you haven't even really talked about yet. But, I think the holistic approach that you have is really where people need to focus, right? It's like get some PR, get the brand out there, maybe do some lead gen to build your business, to actually transact sales. And then on the backside of it, it's like, hey, how do you build a team? That's really an underrepresented, underreported part of business, which is like, you have to build a team eventually. There is no $1 million business with an employee of one. Does not exist, right? Like it just doesn't. There's always a team. So from your perspective, I mean, I think that the growth strategy for a lot of these people that are in the real estate is like, come on the front end, get the PR. In the middle, work on the lead gen, right? So that people can kind of, start doing deal flow and learn how to sell and learn how to build those relationships. But then on the back end, build a team. Tell us a little bit about how you can help real estate agents build a team.
Every real estate agent makes money the same way. There's no recurring income. There's no passive income unless you're investing in real estate, but that doesn't make you an agent, it makes you an investor. So we have a system called the 3FX system. Find, feed, follow up. Finding the agents or finding yourself. It depends on where you are in your business. 3FX is more effective in our recruiting side. And what we do is that, I had a client, a longtime client of mine, Sandy McKay, a very 7-figure big broker here in Canada. And he came to me, he was like, man, I don't, leads are great, but like, I just bought a brokerage. I was like, oh, wicked. I was doing your team. Now it's a brokerage. I need more agents. So he came and said, all right, let's try recruiting. So we built the most exclusive, elaborate, large, there's 7 funnels. There was 14 ads running. It was we just built the whole system because we had no clue what we were doing. From there, that was my first realization. When they hired an agent and they called me, they're like, yo, this guy's amazing. He's going to be worth about $50,000 to us this year, blah, 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 or 20, or however much it was worth. I was like, whoa. Like I had my aha moment, right? I'm a big Tony Robbins believer. I watch all this stuff. And that was my aha moment. I was like, no way. So then I called around, and I'm, as you know, I got a few connections in real estate, here and there. So I made a few calls to a couple of brokerage owners, and we chatted. And I said, listen, what's one agent worth to you? Top line, bottom line. I think I actually called you that day, and I was like, I think we had that call. I was like, man, this is what I want to do. And you broke it down exactly how I was thinking. I just needed a little validation, and it's exactly what we do, because real estate brokers and real estate agents are so significantly different in the sense that agents work for themselves. Brokers and broker owners. That's the key word there. Broker owners work for the brokerage, right? They own the brokerage.
Yes. Yeah.
They get paid. Every agent that comes in, bottom line, and with Keller Williams, which I work with predominantly, not to say that we're exclusive with them, but we work with a lot of KW agents, or KW brokerages. Sorry, they do profit share, which I know a lot of brokerages do. And that time was like, well, more agents, but I'm like, okay, but you don't want to hire another agent who's not going to produce, right? This is just not going to work.
Yeah, not worth it, right? All the effort.
Exactly. And ethics is huge in real estate, right? Ethics is massive. It was huge. Like when I went to school to become a realtor, right? There's a whole, and I'm not, by the way, it's a disclaimer, but I went to school to become one. And the marketing took over. But I remember that vividly, part of the legalities is that, ethics is huge. That's a whole part of the exam. And in that sense is that when you're talking to broker owners, and they're like, man, okay, I don't want anybody who does, especially team leaders. They don't want underproducing agents because it's a pain in the ass. So I was like, okay, well, how do I build an exclusive funnel? So using high level, obviously we use that with your system and everything else that we use. We built a system that was proprietary to them. And every single funnel or ad or creative was built out specifically to wean out the individuals that were not a good fit. And then I thought, wow, I want to coin something. It's this culture video that I made. I was like, well, this is wicked. It's gonna be my thing. So from there, every brokerage we've ever had is we make a culture video. The culture video is basically, Connor, you want a real estate brokerage. What is the culture in your brokerage, right? Like, what do you guys all wear yellow socks? Like every day, do you wear yellow socks? What's your thing? Like, what training do you do differently? It's like Wacky Tie Wednesdays. What is the culture? How is a team leader built? How many training days a week do you guys have? What does your office look like? Give me an overview of the environment, the culture that you've built for your team, and let me take that. And with my creative team, what we do professionally is make that creative marketing funnel, put it onto the various social media platforms, an omni-channel of which Facebook, YouTube, etc. And what we do is we take those creative videos that we make, and we funnel them down into qualification surveys and questions that these people watch. They watch a full video of like who we are, hosted by the team leader a lot of the time, narrated by them, and then obviously the qualification questions. Are you a licensed realtor, etc. And from there, our agencies and our brokers now are hiring 3 to 5 agents a month.
And
right?
And I think that's like, I think people don't understand how big that is too, right? Because like 3 to 5 a month, let's say your average person produces a deal a month, right? It's like you're not just adding 2, 3, 4 people. It's like now all of a sudden you're getting 30 to 50 more deals a year, right? So I think the recruiting model is going to be big going forward. I think the people that are going to benefit from this really are going to be the brokerages that want to grow. It doesn't matter where they're located; they just want to grow and they want to have a good team. Tell us about how people can reach out to you, whether they're interested in the PR side, they're interested in the recruiting side. Like, give us some links, drop those out for us so that we can, have some traffic go back there for people who listen to the show that are in the real estate space, or maybe they're going to the real estate space and they're like, hey, I want to come out with a bang. I want some PR to start, or maybe they have a team and they want to grow it. Like, give us some shout outs. Where can they go to learn more?
Yeah, I mean, we did that. We built out funnels for everything. So we're huge on VSLs. I give a shout out to Nick Robbins, who kind of gave, he's my start to marketing. Nick's provided a lot of value, and we went in there at 5K a month, and obviously, a little bit different than that now. But when we built out VSLs, I didn't know what a video service letter was. We built out these there's these websites, these funnels that allow our clients and our prospects to be able to fully comprehend what we do. So if you want to check out hypertarget.com, there's no E in hypertarget, HYPR, target.com, or same thing, hypertarget.io. The IO is our general website, and .com is our our press website. And from there, you can actually get to either the recruiting funnel or the press funnel. If you're in real estate, then the recruiting side, obviously, if you're a team leader or broker, looking to get that done, definitely reach out. But press is not just for realtors. Press is not just for the larger, high-end, wealthy business people at all. Press is for everybody. I started getting press, I had nothing. We had $5,000 a month in revenue. When I got featured in my first few publications, it started to build a little bit of a buzz. And that buzz, I was able to capitalize on. You have to be able to and willing to grow your brand and want to scale your brand. You have to take advantage of the abilities that social media has provided for you. And 100%, the last thing I'm going to say is you need to own your domain authority. When I Google you or your business, what comes up? Your LinkedIn or your Forbes article? Now, Forbes is a little extreme. It's the highest publication you can get featured in. But yeah, like you need to be who you are. If you're just the guy that I have 200 LinkedIn connections and I can't find you on social media, one thing that one of my friends, Luke, he coined this phrase is that credibility is the new currency, and like it blew my mind, and I was like, whoa, because when you Google a doctor or a lawyer or a marketing agency, a restaurant, food chain, like something, anything that you're going to purchase a service or a product, what do? You Google them.
Google, right? First time, always, yeah.
Stop trying to do, I won't say stop trying to do SEO. Do SEO, that's important. However, these other domains authorities like Disrupt, YOLO Daily, Medium, etc., Forbes, they already spend so much on Google, and they already have so many publications going into their publications, so many features and articles every single month that they already rank on Google. This is literally accelerated SEO. When we publish you into these publications, what you're able to do is you're actually able to own your name, own your business, own that domain authority. So when you're Googled, that comes up. And the first thing that I see is Connor Robertson, dominating the email marketing world. That's the first thing that I see. I'm like, whoa. So I read the article and I'm like, okay, that's all I need. I needed something else to validate that, right? It's like when someone calls you and you validate an opinion for them, right? Hey, does this dress look nice? Same thing as when I'm Googling you, right? That's all I gotta say. So you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Mitchell Conquer. I post some content there. We're going live in our Facebook group, and obviously Connor Organic Secrets there. We do a lot in that, and we're pretty vested. So that's where you can follow us. I got hypertarget.com, hypertarget.com, and then follow me at Mitch Conquer.
Yeah. And so for those of you listening to the show here, we'll drop the links in the description below. We'll post this out, get the video and audio content out as well. Thank you so much for coming on the Prospecting Show, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Connor.